that suggests that I had any belief in the Jets coaching staff to begin with. I have said all along, the New York Jets did the right thing by putting absolutely everything into the lap of Aaron Rodgers because at least that gives us a fighting chance. Do the New York Jets look like a well-coached team to you? Did they look well-coached last night? Did they look ready for that game last night? Every team in the NFL, all 32 of them, have the entire offseason, or at least since the schedule was released in April or May, whenever that is, to prepare for their first opponent. And Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh know each other like the backs of each other's hands, right? Saleh came from San Francisco. So where's the advantage? Saleh knows no one knows that Shanahan offense or Shanahan himself better than Saleh does, and vice versa. So you tell me, if that was a chess match last night, who won it? It's a rhetorical question. If that was a chess match last night, it would have been like me playing against Bobby Fischer. That's how non-competitive it was. The Jets were thoroughly out-schemed last night, thoroughly out-coached, as well as out-fought, outplayed, outmanned. The coaching had a lot to do with it. Do I believe in the coaching staff? No. I believe in Aaron Rodgers. And I believe more than ever, after watching last night, that he is their only hope. That defense has to get much better in a hurry. Did they play an excellent offense last night? Yes. Should they have gotten that diced up, shellacked, receivers running wide open in the secondary, runners, a runner in particular, and not Christian McCaffrey, untouched, going past the line of scrimmage, going into the end zone without so much as a paw on him? Certainly not. The Jets got massively outcoached in a game in which they had months to prepare. So I thought last night was a massive indictment on Robert Saleh and the coaching staff, whom I've never believed in to begin with. And I think it was a massive indictment on Joe Douglas, the Jets general manager, who is living off of one great flurry. He had a flurry of great picks. He had a bunch of first-round picks in one draft, and he generally seems to have gotten them right. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, he got those picks right. Breece Hall, he got that pick right. Jermaine Johnson, as badly as I thought he played last night, generally is a good player. He got that right. Outside of that, look at the picks that he has made. Mekhi Becton, Zach Wilson, Will McDonald IV. Tell me what contribution we've gotten from these guys. Everyone I just named was a first-round pick, most of them pretty high, all of them in the first half of the first round. Where are we? Joe Douglas is living off of two really good draft picks, basically, and getting Breece Hall in the second round. That's what he's living off of. His quarterback, the quarterback he drafted, was so bad we had to go out and sign Aaron Rodgers and beg him to come to New York. And this Hassan Reddick thing is the nail in the coffin. You use the term nail in the coffin, that's the nail in the coffin. It's one of the worst handled player transactions I've ever seen. I've been covering the sport for 30 years. When the thing that was the easiest to see coming is the problem, that's on you. There are always problems you didn't foresee. The life is all about the problems you couldn't have foreseen, right? Unexpected things happen. This is not just limited to football or to sports. In life, you live your life and you encounter obstacles, problems, issues, and when you the ones that hit you that you did not see coming, that were not foreseeable, the real great ones are the ones who figure out quickly how to react and how to overcome that obstacle. When the issue, when the obstacle, when the problem is the one that anyone could have seen coming from the very beginning, that's an indictment on you. It's not about how you're overcoming it. It's about how the hell did you put yourself in this position in the first place. It is the most self-inflicted of wounds. So when I tweeted that last night, that's what I meant. Rodgers looked fine. Rodgers threw some balls that no Jet quarterback has thrown in my lifetime. He's going to be fine. And he got hit a couple of times and got up. That's really all we needed. Rodgers was not the problem last night. It wasn't great, but he most certainly wasn't the problem. He didn't have anybody even remotely open. The Jets couldn't run the ball at all. They had 21 minutes of time of possession last night. Aaron Rodgers had no chance to win that game. Aaron Rodgers, if he was 30 years old, wasn't winning that game last night. So the ones who had bad nights last night were Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas. And they're the ones whose jobs are on the line. Rodgers is, whenever this ends, is going to go off into retirement. He's going to do whatever he wants with his life with the $500 million he probably has, and he'll go into Canton on his first ballot and all that. We can talk all we want about what's at stake for Rodgers. The reality is practically nothing. There's no downside in any of this for him. None of it will diminish what he accomplished in his career. He retires whenever he does as one of the greatest players that ever lived, no matter what happens. So we can say his career is on the line, but he's 40 years old. What does that even mean? Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas are the ones whose careers are on the line. Because just like everyone else who coaches and generally manages the Jets, they never get another job. No one ever hires them. And that's because they keep getting those jobs wrong. So that's where they are. So that's who the pressure is on. Cam, is that a sufficient answer to your question?
100%. And the thing you keep hitting home on is, at the very least, all we've been saying this offseason, even if it takes Rodgers time to get going, even if it takes this new offensive line time to get going, even if it takes Rodgers time to develop some more chemistry with people besides Garrett Wilson, which he clearly has, but that's the only thing he has receiving-wise, at least the Jets will have an amazing defense, and they looked probably the worst out of anybody. So you don't even have the solace that you thought you would have from what might have been a bumpy start on offense. The Jets defense looked like they were blocking dummies for the 49ers offensive linemen, just pushing them back, getting Jordan Mason into the second level 5 seconds into every single run. They had no chance last night. So I think that's the most disheartening thing, is that the thing you thought was your biggest strength looked like your biggest weakness last night.
And the thing that I pointed out off the top of the show, which again is something that, as people listening across the country, you don't know these things because these are not names that most people know. But there is at least some cause for concern that this defense isn't going to be as good as it's been because they let a lot of players go. A lot of them. They chose not to pay Bryce Huff and instead traded for a player in the last year of his contract thinking, okay, we make no commitment beyond this year. We don't have to pay Bryce Huff, who is an undrafted free agent, who you did everything right with. You found an undrafted free agent, a diamond in the rough, whose name is Huff, and you developed him, and he turned into an excellent player. You know what winning organizations do? Pay that guy. Reward that guy. Instead, they let him walk because they don't want to spend any money beyond this year because they're putting everything into it because Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are trying desperately to save their jobs, and they trade for Hassan Reddick, who you figure might be able to give them one better year, and he said, not so fast, my friend. I needed a new deal to play in Philly, and I'm going to need a new deal to play here too. And the Jets are acting like he's in the wrong. Everyone knew this was coming. Everyone. So I don't want to hear it. So was it only one game? Absolutely. I'm not upset that they lost. This was a game, if you weren't going to go 17-0, this is a game you figured you were going to lose. On the road against maybe the best team in the NFC. That's a loss. That's fine. But they didn't look like they belonged on the same field with them. That game wasn't markedly more competitive than the game Carolina played against New Orleans or the Giants played against Minnesota. And all we've done is make fun of those teams. The Jets really weren't much more competitive than that. If the 49ers needed to score a lot more points last night, they easily could have. They had the ball for 39 minutes. And then the entire fourth quarter was garbage time. So that was really devastating.